Hello guys, my name is Allison. My sisters and I started this channel. We hope you like our videos. Please leave a like and write a comment for the algorithm. 18 unusually funny family death stories you'll hate yourself for laughing at. Death is always a serious matter, and most people are terrified of it, but if you exclude the gruesome and sad deaths, you will be able to find a couple of weirdly hilarious deaths that will just make you laugh, mainly due to how caricatural they are. We usually only see those kinds of deaths in cartoons or comedy sketches, so it's only natural that we react to the hilariousness of the situation by laughing. 1. Her last words. My great-grandmother, who was very hard of hearing, was hospitalized at 104 years old. All the relatives piled into her room and sat around talking. Suddenly she sat up and said, "Will you people stop yelling? You're interrupting my nap." Then fell back on the pillow dead as a doornail. 2. Once a prankster, always a prankster. My grandfather had lost his legs and used a scooter to get around. He was always a prankster and loved to have fun and joke around. His final act was trying to scare someone at a party. He was trying to sneak up on my uncle. He was going around a small hill and tipped his scooter, broke multiple bones and died from complications. He thought it was hilarious. 3. Not very safe for a safety inspector. Not a loved one, but perhaps relevant. My uncle helped build large generators for remote villages around the world. He was sent to China where the power plant was in mid-construction. He was given a tour and came across a fairly dangerous hole in the floor that went down several stories when his co-workers started laughing hysterically. When he asked what was so funny, the translator told him that someone had fallen through the hole and died yesterday morning. When he responded why they thought that was so funny, they responded it was the safety inspector. 4. The fall wasn't what killed him. My 100-year-old great-grandfather fell while walking without his walker. He insisted he was fine, but the nursing home insisted he go to the hospital for a checkup just to be sure. No broken bones, but he contracted pneumonia in the hospital and died from it. 5. You can never escape from the winter. My parents grew up in Pennsylvania, but moved to North Carolina when I was a kid to get away from harsh winters. My father died of a heart attack while shoveling snow in North Carolina. 6. Died clowning around. A good family friend died by choking on a non-inflated balloon. She was elderly and trying to blow up balloons for a baby shower. It was ironic because she worked as a clown for over 10 years when she was young. I thought it was a joke when I first heard what happened. 7. Almost cartoonish. My great-grandmother died by slipping on a banana peel, falling into the corner of a table, and puncturing her lung on it. People try really hard not to laugh when I tell them. 8. The greatest way to go. My brother died literally minutes after having sex with a girl. It wasn't funny at the time, but he would have high-fived himself. 9. He needed his own hero. A guy in my hometown drowned while at work as a lifeguard. 10. My family is fucked up like that. My grandma dropped dead at the dinner table one night, and my mom faked CPR to the 911 operator. Grandma lived with my parents for 5 years before she died, and they'd discovered that Grandma didn't shower or brush her teeth or wash her hands after using the bathroom. She'd always get shit everywhere, and it was always under her nails. Needless to say, when she died, my parents called 911. The 911 operator instructed my mom to give Grandma mouth-to-mouth. My mom, the most honest person I know, couldn't do it. Instead, my mom faked it and lied to the operator, saying she did it. Needless to say, Grandma didn't wake up. Don't freak out, Grandma had congestive heart failure and she was a DNR, but, in the moment, nobody thought of that. We still make jokes saying Mom killed Grandma. Yeah, my family is fucked up like that. 11. How ironic. I had a coworker whose mother died in a freak accident. She'd been rushing to go to work, got in the car, started it, and realized that she left her purse on the ground behind her car. She got out of the car, bent over to pick up her purse, and her car suddenly rolled backwards and ran over her, killing her instantly. A week later, my coworker was trying to distract himself by watching TV and saw 6 Feet Under was on. That was his mom's favorite show, so he stopped and decided to watch it. If you've seen that show, you know there's a death at the beginning of the episode. The death that episode? A guy getting run over by his own car. He said it was so shocking and ironic that he couldn't help but laugh about it. 12. The shame ended up winning. He took calls for a suicide hotline for 8 years, and then he killed himself. Left a note saying he couldn't live with himself for talking people out of their desires. 13. Going high to get high. Not one of my loved ones, but one of my dad's friend died what I consider to be a funny death. His best friend was a junkie, as was he, and on his, my dad's, birthday they wanted to do some heroin, but his girlfriend didn't like him doing the heroin, so they climbed up a tree to do it in secret. They got high in both ways, and then he fell out of the tree and died. 14. No one believed him this time. My grandfather's heart was 96% clogged for the last 10 years of his life. He had diabetes and 2 forms of cancer. When they found the cancer, he asked the doctor what he should do. The doctor said, "Well, if you don't treat it, it'll kill you in 3 years." Then he shrugged and said, "But I knew I wouldn't worry about planning that far ahead." One day, he called up the whole family and said, "This is it. I can feel it. This is the moment I am going to die." So everybody came out to be with him. We have family in the Arctic, in Thailand and in China, and they all came to Ontario to be with him. We sat and talked to him and tried to say comforting thing. Personally, I said, "How are you doing, Gramps?" He said, "I'm dying. How the hell do you think I'm doing?" We all stood by his side that night waiting for him. And then the next night, by day 3, my uncle started to get impatient. He started saying, "You know, I've really got to go to work on Monday." The people who held out the longest stayed for a week, all just sort of waiting for him to die, but he never did. Eventually, though, everyone had to go back to their own lives, and plus we were getting bored, so we all moved on. 3 months later he called again and said he was dying again, but we weren't going to fall for that trick twice. It turned out he was telling the truth that time. 15. The joke fired back. My friend made a Facebook status almost 2 years ago right after Halloween, the dread Happy Diabetes Awareness Day, pretty much just as a joke. He was found dead a day or 2 later in his apartment. He died from complications due to diabetes. I never even knew he had it. 16. An ironic heart attack. A friend of mine was an athlete with an amazing body, 6-pack and all of that jazz. Didn't smoke, drank occasionally. Dropped dead in the middle of the night in his dorm room due to a natural heart attack. Doctors said his case was very rare and is seen only in athletes. In layman's term, his heart attack was because of his fitness. 17. Killed instead of saved. My great-aunt died when the hospital accidentally removed her good kidney instead of her bad one. I was just a kid when it happened, so I didn't find out all the details for a long time. Now that I know, though, I'm kind of upset. You never heard the expression, measured twice, cut once, Mr. Surgeon? 18. The man just won't die. I'll put my husband in here. I had a joke for a long time, the man just won't die. Thankfully, I was nowhere near him when he eventually did pass away. First, he was 18 years older than me, so there were many times that I don't even know about. These are just things I know about in the 20 or so years that I knew him. Got into many motorcycle accidents. One that I knew about was a woman pulled out to cross his lane of travel. He saw it coming, so he sorta stood up and did a roll over the top of her car. Barely a scratch on him. Bike was a mess though. While driving through a forested swampy area, he nodded off. Went off the road and managed to miss every single tree. Came to rest gently against a boulder. Cops couldn't figure it out. He wasn't injured at all, and the car was fine. He developed a lung ulcer from smoking dope crack or something like that. I had left him at this point to care for our toddler daughter, and I didn't want to watch himself kill himself. He went to the hospital eventually. They gave him penicillin. Turns out he was allergic to penicillin. Doctors gave him a small chance of survival. So he called me and asked me to take him home to die. When I picked him up, his feet were literally the size of watermelons due to the allergic reaction. I bought him cigarettes on the way to his house. Yup, he survived. A while later he was welding in something like an elevator shaft. A huge piece of metal dropped down and hit him square on the head. It flung him out of the shaft and against a wall. He was knocked out, but eventually regained consciousness. He tried to go back to work, but his boss sent him home. He went back to work the next day. About a month later, the pain in his neck got to be annoying, so he went and got x-rays. 3 vertebrae were shattered, and he lost 3 inches of height. Walked around for a month with a broken back. At least once, almost overdosed on heroin. Said the thought of our daughter brought him out of it. How he actually did die is the ironic part. He was on methadone for the addiction problems and pain issues. He was fighting with his doctor about the dosage. He thought that the dosage was too high, from what I understand. He had a close call about a week before he did die. He got his dose. Took the bus to my grandmother's house. He did work around her house for her. Said he didn't feel well. She let him lay down on her couch. That's where he died. Just went to sleep. Another odd thing too. I wasn't aware that Baptists go door to door. He was a Baptist. At the moment my grandmother found him, Baptists came to her door. She was freaking out, of course. One of them was an EMT, so they attempted to revive him. All of this was 3 days before our daughter's 12th birthday. I had taken the day out of work to prepare for her birthday. I'm a workaholic, so he was very considerate to wait until I had a day off. He was a pain in the ass, but I missed the motherfucker. Thank you so much for watching our videos. Please support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. Please leave a comment if you have ideas or want to talk to us. Thanks. See ya.